Right then, everyone. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for giving up your time this wonderful evening. Hopefully, you've all been enjoying the lovely weather we've been having, and I'm sure some of you would have been out and about over the weekend and the end of last week doing some preparation of your own grounds. As of last week, there was the good news in the government roadmap that sport is returning as of the 29th of March, which means we should get an awful lot more cricket than we did have last summer. So let me just move on to the next slide. So tonight, this is the agenda. The first part is the formal AGM, and then the final half we will be going through some of the new services that hopefully will benefit yourselves and your clubs that we're looking to launch through the Grounds Association this year. Without for gone slightly too far. At the moment, I haven't. The only apology I've had is from Andy Fairburn, the Executive Director of Somerset Cricket Board, because he is hosting the Bath and District Youth AGM tonight. So without further ado, I'm just moving on to the review of 2020. So it seems it was almost a year ago, just over, where quite a few of you on this call tonight were with us at our last year's AGM at the Fox and Goose, enjoying some bacon sandwiches, and then listening to Simon Johnson of the now GMA, and Scott Hawkins, the recently appointed at that point head groundsperson of Somerset County Cricket Club, answer your questions, share their thoughts on various different things. And we're all very looking forward to what we thought was going to be an excellent 2020 after the wonderful Ashes series and England's World Cup win in 2019. Obviously, what happened shortly after that has been a once in a lifetime occurrence, and for a lot of period of time there was this, we're not going to play any cricket, and it was quite depressing at times. However, obviously in the midsummer, the news that we all wanted that cricket could return, and I think for me, as a person who worked the whole way through and worked very hard to try and get cricket back up and running, it's quite easy for me to say that without the hard work of anyone involved at cricket clubs helping with their grounds, and the head grounds person and ground maintenance teams at clubs, cricket simply would not have happened last summer. The challenges that people had to meet to get cricket played were outstanding, because there was a lot of clubs which weren't even allowed on their grounds to do anything. We obviously went through the various lockdown, and then when Boris Johnson said that we could play cricket again, everyone was clamoring around at their grounds team to go, we need a pitch ready at a week's notice to start playing. And I think it's just needs to be put on record the amazing work that people did last summer to get cricket played. Obviously, it's now a little bit more looking ahead, and I'm sure some of you have been out and about now, and there will be more information coming out from both the ECB around what is allowed, but obviously a lot of the documentation is already out there, and keep following that until you get an update on that. But no, just want to say a huge thank you to everything that grounds personnel did last summer. It was simply amazing. Obviously, we had an awful lot planned for last summer. The grounds day at the county ground obviously didn't happen, with crowds not permitted and the county ground being a biosecure venue. So hopefully now, with the return of crowds being likely and hopefully restrictions being lifted, if all goes to plan, Scott will again welcome us to a game next summer, or this summer, sorry, later in the season. More details will come out of this once we know a lot more about it. but we still managed to run the trailer scheme and the aeration scheme. Phil and Dave, between them, saw 27 clubs, renovating a total of 261 pitches. And then Phil has subsequently aerated 32 squares. I think that may even now be 33. Phil and Dave also did a couple of different visits when restrictions allowed for clubs looking for help and support. But one of the biggest changes in 2020 was the Institute of Groundsmen have had a total rebrand. They are now the Grounds Management Association. They have launched a number of online courses for grounds personnel to complete, and one of those is the online level 1. And even I took the time to go through that and have qualified. So now at committee meetings, I have an awful lot more understanding about what the expertise on the committee talk about when they discuss. And I think for me, I've fully endorsed anyone to go on that. It's only £25, but there's an awful lot of knowledge that you can pick up on that, and a lot of documents. And I'm sure Simon will endorse later, because we've got Simon Johnson, the regional pitch advisor of the Grounds Management Association, on the call, that it's not very long until the level 2 cricket grounds maintenance course will be landing with you all. But as soon as we get that, we will let you know. But that is where we are for 2020. We certainly hope that 2021 will be a lot better. Just moving on, so the finance of the organisation, and I'm sure Phil will unmute himself, that the chair of the organisation adds some things to here. That the cold light of day, the association did make a small loss this year of £343.67. The main reason for this loss is because of the pandemic. The board of directors at Somerset Cricket Board decided to refund clubs their affiliation fees for 2020 to try and help clubs in a very small way through the pandemic. So that meant that the normal £5 membership fee, which is allocated from your affiliation fee you pay, which goes to the Grounds Association, didn't happen this year. So in a normal year, there would have been a surplus of around £500. There was more income generated through the trailer and aeration schemes, and I will leave Phil to explain a little bit more of that, because we have had a slight revamp on the pricing structure on that. And as you will see, the board of directors at the Cricket Board agreed to a proposal from the Grounds Association to replace one of the scarifiers, the one which is on the south trailer. This was a long-term investment for the Cricket Board because the old machine has over time become more worn and starting to have slightly more faults with it, and the board were spending quite a lot more money on getting machinery repaired and serviced. So hopefully that investment will allow the scheme to run on with more reliable machinery for much longer. And as you can see in this, that the servicing repairs have significantly reduced. But because we have got brand new, nice, shiny kit, in some instances, it did mean the insurance went up slightly. Phil, I don't know at this point whether you would like to unmute yourself and just talk a little bit more about the trailer scheme and some of the changes in the financial element.
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to take a step back through the agenda with all the thanks that came out before. I'm sure on behalf of you all, you'd like me to thank the Somerset board for facilitating the ECB having put their hands in their pockets and actually produce some money for grassroots cricket in very difficult circumstances for everyone, including the ECB. I've always been a cricket critic in the past, but they don't have any real care about the grassroots, but they've come good this year. And, you know, he wouldn't say anything himself, but without Matt doing the job that he's done, due to the lockdowns and so on, we'd all been a right old mess. So thank you on behalf of all of us, Matt, and everybody else at the board. The finances, if you look back at the situation we had, we went for a working balance in 17-18 of plus £121 to a loss in 18-19 of £2,799. That's why we had to do something about our pricing structure. The fact that the machinery was getting older, you know, we needed to spend some money to keep it on the road in the first place. And that year was when we got hit with a double whammy in that both scarifiers let us down badly at the wrong time. But we managed to get ourselves through just about. But we felt, no, we've got to do something to try and improve the balance going forward. And the board again supported us there in buying that new piece of kit to keep us moving forward, hopefully without any delays in the next year or two like we had last year due to breakdowns. You're always going to get a few with weather, as we all know, but we didn't have machinery problems this time. As there been no increase for 3 years and we were losing money hand over fist, then the decisions were taken to change the cost of hire for a 10-pitch square for about £240. It went up to £285 for a 10-pitch square. Obviously a bit less or a bit more depending on the size of square either side of that. But that's the sort of money we were talking about. I didn't think that was a ridiculous amount of increase. Aeration, similarly, a 10-pitch aeration was £60. A 10-pitch aeration now became £75. So again, the percentage increase there was not ridiculous. And yeah, it was 32 clubs, but some of those clubs are more than one square. So in fact, I actually worked it out because I had nothing better to do one day, and I spiked 25 miles in a month. So that's why I lost a bit of weight back then. If you compare our costs, if you want to hire an aerator, you're talking about £125 plus VAT. Then you've got to sort out delivery and pick up. That's if it's just for one day. If you want to hedge your bets because of weather, you get a 5-day hire, still talking about £375 plus. And the scarifier, similar amounts. And you've got to bear in mind that you've still got to spread seed, fertilizer, loam, drag matting, all the rest of it, which the trader scheme helps with. So I still think it's very good value for money for anyone. The numbers of clubs, we had 23 renovations in 2019, where we had some problems with weather and breakdowns. This year we managed to do 27. 11 of those hadn't had the trailer previously, so that's a good sign. The aerations, we did 22, some of which had to be done after Christmas because of the weather. That was in 2019. This year we did 23, but 11 of the ones we did last time didn't have it this time, but 17 of the ones we did this time hadn't had it before. So again, things are moving the right way, and you know, we obviously going to be quite busy next year, I would think. The last thing I wanted to mention was grants. Now, like I say, the ECB provided money and the SCB facilitated it. I'm amazed how many clubs didn't choose to take up those grants, in spite of banging on time and again, so many emails. And even afterwards, I heard of some clubs, groundsmen, who didn't know anything about these grants. So, you know, it is worth bothering to read the emails. Make sure those of you on this call do keep your committee on the ball on that one. And there is still money available, I believe, this month. Matt, is that right? You nod, yeah. So if you're desperate, you might still manage to get something out of the ECB that way. And you know, people who chose not to renovate at all because they hadn't played much, obviously didn't read anything the GMA kept banging out time and again to point out, if you want to get rid of thatch, you don't just ignore renovation for a year. That's the worst thing you can do. That's the thing that needed doing more than anything else. Because when you're preparing pitches, you minimise the thatch by getting rid of the grass. So I think that's enough of a rant from me for now, but a little bit of background to those bare figures which you see there in front of you.
Thanks, Phil. Just on the grants and in particular the return to cricket grant, Phil asked me if I could let him know which clubs took advantage of it. Obviously, I can't say which clubs did it, but of the 27 which used the trailer scheme, I think it was 16 took advantage of the grant for end of season renovations. There are also a further 10 clubs as part of their application put in renovation costs but didn't use a trailer scheme, which is not a problem at all. There has been around 50 applications for the return to cricket grant across the county, but some chose they needed to justify the money on other areas of their club. That fund is still available for another fortnight. So if you are in hardship and struggling, you can still apply. Just please let me know. I will get you over a form. Right, the next bit, if they just get it to work, is the election of officers. So last year, Dave Cobb and John Bendel both joined the committee, and they have been adding to the work that the group have been doing, and you're going to hear about that more in a minute, about some of the things that hopefully we're going to be able to run and benefit our clubs. This isn't a closed group by any means. The committee are always looking for people who want to get involved and try and help take the association forward, and people can be co-opted as necessary. All the people who are listed currently on here are all willing to carry on. I think Andy Curtis would prefer it if someone longer term came forward to take on that role, but his secretarial duties are mainly keeping the minutes up to check on meetings, as I do most of the admin anyway in my professional role supporting the association. I would like to propose that all of these people stay in post. If someone could put their hand up seconding that on camera, that would be great. If anyone's willing to put their head. Cheers, Brian at Yeovil. You were the first person I saw. And then if you want, if to vote, we're going to do it a bit of, if anyone is against this, please put a comment in the chat box. If not, we'll carry it. We'll do it in reverse to make, otherwise I've got to count everyone's hands up everywhere. And that's always good. Nothing is gone in there. So this will be remaining in the committee. If anyone is interested in joining, please feel free to email me and I can give you some more information and potentially get you involved from here. The next part of that is the formal AGM done. So we've done and dusted from a constitutional point of view. We're now going to briefly go through, hopefully, some things which are going to benefit clubs moving forward. So just a quick headline from me before I pass on to John. So some of you might have seen this if you came to the AGM last year, but we came up and said these 4 things on the screen are the 4 areas of the new Somerset Cricket Board strategy relating to ground, and this would be formally adopted in that strategy. Obviously, COVID hit, and that put most of the strategic planning on the back burner, and it's something that both Somerset County Cricket Club and the Cricket Board are revisiting now together to present to the ECB in April. From a Somerset Cricket Board point of view, very little has changed from when COVID hit, or before COVID hit, to after it's hitting, and us working our way through. Having reviewed what was in place, everything within the strategy still remains. So once this is formally adopted, these will be some of the four key areas which we will be looking as a board, with the support of the Grounds Association and the ECB and the Grounds Management Association. We'll be looking to achieve moving forward. I'm now going to hand over to John, who is going to go through a diagram around some of the service that we currently offer and some of the services that we are looking to roll out. Certainly one starting this evening and some over the coming weeks. So over to you, John.
Thanks, Matt. Evening, guys. So Matt and the officers of the association asked me to have a look at demonstrating or bringing to life the services and opportunities that the association offer. So this is just really a pictorial diagram to bring it to life a little bit. I'm going to start in the top right hand corner in the added value and procurement section. It sounds very grand, but it's looking at ways of supporting member clubs with materials, equipment, and our commercial partner opportunities. So I'll come on to this in a bit more detail after I've gone through the other three, but it's the first sphere that we've looked at, just to really bring to life and encourage those clubs who perhaps potentially don't have a supplier, don't know where to go to, and need signposting. So we've added it, we've included it as added value and procurement, because it's a catch-all for, like I say, those materials, equipment, and partnerships that we're looking to develop. Moving around the sphere, we go to member services. So as a new person coming onto the association committee, I was quite keen on understanding what the benefits of being a member and what can we offer our members and our member clubs and our groundsmen and groundspeople out in the game. So really, this is a catch-all for our webinars, newsletters, website information and content, and then our social media platforms around Twitter and Facebook. And I'm sure a number of you are aware that there's lots of great forums on both Twitter and Facebook that reach far and wide. So it's a challenge for us as an association to say, how do we modernise and get more information out to the game in Somerset? The newsletters and the websites still have a function, but let's explore the bottom two as well. And on Thursday evening of this week is probably our real first wholehearted attempt, Matt, if you would agree, of a live webinar with Dr. Ian James and Scott as our head groundsperson. So Thursday night, we're really kicking that off as our first of a series of webinars, and hopefully we'll attract more followers to that webinar program. Moving around the sphere, we've named it Advise and Guide, and that's pretty much what we've had in place and what the association have had in place in terms of the regional pitch advisor visits, the development expansion of the Somerset teams in terms of the grounds team, being able to support clubs and club groundsmen with needs and wants and technical information and advice. And then we've put educational events in there. So previously, the association have run their grounds day at the county ground, hosted by the head groundsperson, as a part of an education theme. There's lots more scope to do further work there, and it probably links directly across to the commercial partners. And how do we use our commercial partners to provide better education around our materials and seed, feed, fertilizer, etc. So the Advise and Guide section is as is, but there's still some scope to develop. And then very much on the same kind of thread, our grounds services and delivery is fundamentally the trailer scheme and the aeration scheme, and how do we add value to that and improve and expand that. So as demonstrated earlier in the evening, that is growing, its legs are growing. So the more members we can get engaged with the trailer scheme and the service delivery scheme, the better. So that's really just bringing to life four themes or areas of the association. I want to jump back to the added value and procurement bit. So we've set up a small working group this year, including Scott as our head groundsperson, and we've explored with a couple of suppliers around their appetite and potential to become official partners of the cricket board through the Grounds Association. And we're looking really to tee up a members package for clubs to explore and take advantage of. So when we say materials, we mean fertilizer, seed, and potentially loam, and having a bulk buying purchase opportunity on a bronze, silver and gold threshold level. So it is exactly what it says on the tin. Bronze would be a low level of investment, but the basic requirements for a community club. And then those clubs who want to spend a little bit more and enhance their both pitch and outfield would have a silver opportunity. And then Scott has pulled together a gold standard level of purchasing. So Scott has done a brilliant job with that piece of work, and we're kind of in the latter stages of confirming that. So it's 2BC, but we hope to have something out to the member clubs within the next probably 4 weeks, because we're conscious that as soon as we get into April, member clubs will want to look at purchasing materials for the summer. So we're keen to get that off the ground, and that will be one of our kind of flagship things that we move forward in early 2021. So Matt, that's it from me.
Perfect. Thanks there, John. One additional thing before I go on to one thing that John has already mentioned is that at the end of the slide deck, there will be a link to a survey. So I will circulate this to everyone on tomorrow. That basically is part of this and trying to get more input from clubs around things that they want and services, and trying to just get a bit more background and understanding of where clubs are to help inform that. There is a survey which we really would like all clubs to fill in around the groundwork they currently do at their club to just help us try and improve some of our offerings. That will also be circulated to all member clubs, not just the ones who have attended tonight, so we can try and get some real capture into that. So just moving on to the next slide. So over a number of years, there has been a pitch advisor scheme in place. And in more recent years, since the reformation of the Grounds Association, all this work has been carried out by Phil Mortimer. He's done a sterling job travelling the length and the breadth of the county. So not just sticking to Midsummer Norton. He's been right across West Somerset, right to the Devon border, right down to the Dorset border. He has covered the length and breadth of the county. But one of the things we've been discussing as a group and a committee is how can we improve the offering? So it's not wholly reliant on Phil, but how can we try and expand this service? So from looking at some of the work that other counties have done, and Dave Cobb finding out some of the stuff that Essex have done, and then after more research, Surrey have done, both of those counties have created either a cricket support network or a cricket support team. So that is what we have pulled together for Somerset. The idea behind this is it will be a small group of grounds people. They all have I will tell you who the team are in a minute, but ultimately it is to try and reach more clubs and to be able to support more clubs across the county. So hopefully there'll be people who are more local to you, and it's something that we've got the support of the grounds from Simon and his team at the GMA, and Simon will also help support this group as well as we grow it and as it builds really. So we are really keen to get this rolled out, and we're really keen to try and support more clubs. I think at times we've probably not shouted enough as an association, as a board, about the support that there is available for people who maintain ground. So this is really important for us and a real big key step, because we know that some people from communications we've had this summer, that there are some people who have only just taken on grounds for the very first time. This is the first season they have been a grounds person, and they've got no idea what they're taking on at their club or anything like that. So it's really important that we try and support these people in understanding what's happening at their ground. So let me just move on. So within this, we're building on what is ultimately the existing pitch advisor scheme. So we're offering 4 levels of service, 3 which can ultimately be done by the group as itself, and then 1 which we have to rely on at Simon at the moment whilst we're waiting for the group to go through some higher level training to be able to do the final assessment. But ultimately, we've got the phone, email, and informal visit. So hopefully this group will be available to answer queries, questions that you might have, but come out to your club free of charge to give an informal visit. Obviously, with travel, there might be a small fee depending on the mileage, but ultimately this will be very basic and quite a good introductory level. Building on that, there is a more formal visit with a basic written report, and this will cost £50. This is similar to other counties. Actually, it's slightly cheaper than one. If you look at Essex, they're charging, I think, about £150 for a basic report. But ultimately, we're trying to provide this service to get you more information and more expertise about understanding where you are with your ground. Then there will be a full pitch inspection, which again slightly more. But as part of this, we're looking with the procurement to be able to offer professional soil analysis with with the preferred partner that we eventually go with. So hopefully that will be a really added benefit through this, that at no charge to you, there will be soil analysis, so you know what your soil is like and the pitfalls of it and how you might be able to improve this moving forward. And then the final one, this might seem really scary and you look at the price, but this is a full pitch quality standards assessment. This will be done by Simon, the regional pitch advisor, and it's at this price because it is an extremely detailed document which pretty much covers everything you will ever want to know about your existing ground and where it is. And it's really important, and I think Simon will attest to this, is that if you are carrying out any major work to your ground, e.g. trying to put new drainage in, or trying to relay your square, or maybe laying 3 or 4 new pitches, this £400 is probably the best £400 you will spend, because unfortunately he would have seen, as others will, people spending a lot of money on grounds work and then ultimately it coming back to bite them later in that the wrong work has been done, or it's not conducive to your ground, and then you have to spend a lot more money fixing it. Simon, I don't know whether you want to unmute yourself and add to anything I've said on that, but your experience will be more valued than mine.
Yeah, that's right, Matt. It's almost, unfortunately, a weekly problem across all sports that clubs, be it cricket, football, rugby, they go into drainage systems. With cricket, you could go into relaying a square. The whole thing needs to be done properly and overseen by the agronomist all the way through, so that you don't end up with worse than what you started with. I mean, for instance, there's a football club in Cheltenham that haven't played on their ground for 10 years because they had Section 106 money to put drainage in, and the people that did it made the pitch even worse. So they just haven't played on it. Whereas if somebody went in and oversaw and looked at the scheme prior to this, we could have seen it was wrong in the first place. So it is 400 quid out of what, relaying a square, you're up in the thousands of pounds. You want to get it right so that you get what you're paying for, basically.
Thanks there, Simon. That's much appreciated. So just move on. So who is the team? So the team, Phil will be continuing as county pitch advisor and will be part of this team. Phil's obviously done an awful lot of great work over the years, and Phil is more than happy to continue as part of this group. We're very fortunate with Scott Hawkins, the head county grounds person at the county ground. Scott's been brilliant since he's joined, and he's really thrown himself into the association and trying to make it better and trying to improve the offering for the recreational game. John's already spoke about everything he's been trying to help with the procurement side, but Scott is also going to be part of this team. His time is probably going to be the most limited of everyone, but he will be part of this team and will be available. We've got Dave Cobb. Dave Cobb is the head ground person at the Bath Recreational Trust. So he is really well experienced in multi-sport facilities and has won awards nationally for that. So he's in charge of all the maintenance at Bath Recreation Ground, where Bath Rugby play, but also has football pitches, cricket pitches, all within his portfolio. So a great asset to have. We've got Nigel Mortimer. So Nigel's been, since the reformation, Nigel's been part of the grounds committee since it's reformed, and he's got lots of experience with rugby, bowls, greens and cricket, where he is currently head of grounds at both Clevedon and Clavering. So it's great to have Nigel on board. There is one person who is to be announced. The person agreed to it all today and then realised he probably just needs to confirm it with someone else before it's fully signed off and we announce it. So hopefully we'll be in a position to let you know that later in this week. But that ultimately is the team.
Last person, it wasn't his wife, by the way, chaps.
It wasn't his wife from there. So ultimately, I'll go through on this page here, this link at the top of the page, Somerset Creek Ground Support Team. When I send it round, this will take you to a page on our website. It will have all the details on there, but it will also include at the bottom a booking and inquiries form. There's a hard copy version which you can download and email to me, but there's also a nice simple online version. And then basically, if you want to visit, we've got any inquiries, please fill in that form, and then it will be filtered to the team and the person who's most appropriate, either by travel, distance, knowledge for that specific case, which has come through. They will pick that up and answer that for you. Just on the service in the events, I've also put here a couple of links to the grounds maintenance courses through the GMA and also their new online toolkit. For those of you who are joining us on Thursday, which I hope you all are, we will go through this in a little bit more detail on that, so I won't steal any thunder ahead of Thursday on that. Also, here's the link to the ground survey, which we encourage all clubs to fill in and complete. And then just a reminder from me about the pre-season pitch preparation webinar with Dr. Ian James and Scott Hawkins on Thursday. We've got some good numbers in for that already. We've got some superb questions coming in as well, which both will be looking to answer and cover off on the evening. And as John said, this will be the first of hopefully a few webinars which will come up in the next few months. But also as we come out of lockdown and phase out, we hope to be able to start running face-to-face events on local area, but we will just have to play that by ear and deal with everything as happened from that point of view. Moves on to any other business. I haven't had any in advance. I don't know if there are any questions or anything. If you do have any questions, please put them in the chat function. If you haven't and you think of a question after, please send them to me after and we will get them answered. But hopefully that just gives you an idea of where the association is moving, and hopefully we can keep building on what's been done already, and hopefully clubs will get a lot more benefits out of what's available. If there are no questions, because nothing is coming through, I do call them. Oh, will the slide day impact me? Yep. Yeah, all the slides and everything will be sent round tomorrow to those who attended tonight. And I will also send the recording. And then either later tomorrow or by Wednesday, this will also be sent round to all clubs. So they've got it as well. So if they want to watch back or pick up on anything, that will come out. So obviously you who have all joined tonight, you've got some information which some haven't at the moment. So one of the benefits of joining ahead. Without further ado, I hope to see you all again on Thursday. You won't hear from me at all on Thursday. I will be in the background just making sure the tech works. But we have got two excellent speakers in Dr. Ian James and Scott himself. I think Scott's on the call tonight as well. But yeah, that's everything from me. And hopefully I will be out and about again this summer, and I will get to see some of you at your cricket grounds this summer. But I will call the meeting closed. Thank you all for your time, and I'll see you again soon.
Thanks very much, Matt, for organising it all for us.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for hosting that. Really good. Thank you. See you all on Thursday to listen to Ian James and some boring bloke.
Cheers, Scott.
Thanks, Matt.
No worries. Speak to you all soon.